This is Love Never Fails with your host, Marilyn Redmond. Marilyn shares her experience, strength, and hope, and includes tools to help you find your inner strength for health, healing, and empowerment. So now, please welcome the host of Love Never Fails, Marilyn Redmond.
Welcome. I am your host, Marilyn Redmond. You're listening to Love Never Fails, and we're on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Glad to have you back this week. We've had an exciting week going on over where I am, and I got back home safe and sound from a real special spiritual retreat, and it's great to always be home and get ready for the show. So here we are, and this is Love Never Fails. We're so glad to have you joining us today, telling all your friends and neighbors that we're here every Tuesday afternoon, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. And today we have a real special treat, a really creative guy who's been all over the world looking for answers for you. So if you want to call in and get answers, he's here today to help you out. Michael Bradford is here. Excuse me. He's an international intuitive energy healer, business coach, author, and spiritual teacher. And our phone number is 866-451-1451 with your questions and concerns. And I'm sure he'll be glad to answer any questions you have, or if you have some for me, I'll be ready to do that. Michael has a master's degree with advanced training, intuition, NLP training, hypnosis, Reiki, energy medicine, reading energy patterns, and other specialties. In his travels, he's worked with healers and shaman in many countries, psychics, professional medical, and healing practitioners. His cutting-edge multidimensional methods balance karma and break their limitations. He offers private sessions, coaching, mentoring, and in-depth workshops for personal breakthrough, financial success, and intuition training. Boy, I don't have something in my throat today. He's a speaker and interested in joint ventures if you want to join with Michael in a project. So we're so glad to welcome you, Michael, and glad to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to what's going to transpire in the next hour.
Well, we're going to have a wonderful show in the next hour because you're here, so thanks for showing up.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, well, you sent me some wonderful information about yourself, and I was so thrilled to get it. In fact, he even sent me his book, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But first, we want him to give us a quick walkthrough of his childhood and where he is now.
Wow. Okay. No problem on that. I started, well, let me back up. Even before I came to the planet, I had many other lifetimes where I saw the light and I went for it. And the challenge was I saw the light, I went for it, and my mental body, my physical body, my spiritual body is very advanced. But the challenge was my emotional body, I left it behind. So I had to come back this lifetime to learn how to deal with feelings, emotions, personal responsibility, taking care of myself. And that was that's been very, very challenging for me to learn because that's my Achilles heel. That's the place that I was weakest at. So I came into the planet very open. I'm both an empath, a highly sensitive person. I've had menstrual cramps. I've gotten drunk when I was drinking water and people around me were intoxicated. So I have to give that background and say that, in my childhood, I got in trouble a lot because people were hiding things. They wouldn't talk about, like, if someone's father died. I didn't know what I was doing, but all of a sudden I started speaking about death and fathers, and now I get in trouble. So I got in trouble a lot as a child because I was talking about what other people were trying to hide. And in school, very insecure. The family I came from, it looked good on the outside. It was a middle-class family. But my father was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I never knew when he was going to love me or when he was going to trick me or abuse me. And a lot of that was mental or physical or emotional. So what I went for in school, I wanted something I could rely on. So I went for math. I went for science. I went for things that I felt were tangible. And I always wanted to be a doctor, by the way, too, to help people. So I finished high school, went to college. My father didn't want to help me at all, and basically said, I'm done with you after finishing high school. That's the end of my responsibility. So I wound up working full-time, going to school full-time, put myself through undergraduate school, got a business degree, business math and economics, and then later on, a number of years later, went back to get a master's degree in international management, majoring in Japanese studies. So I also worked for the state of Oregon, Small Business Development Center. So I've got a lot of business background, and I spent a lot of time working in the business world, running companies, running corporations, etc. But inside of me, I've always had this calling, and the calling kept getting louder and louder and louder till I finally went over to Israel on the eve of the trip was for 3 weeks, but part of the trip, I was actually in Jerusalem on the eve of my 35th birthday, and I came in front of the Wailing Wall. And my first reaction was, okay, what's the big deal? Why do people die? What's so important about this pile of rocks? And all of a sudden, my heart chakra started moving, and I made a decision to walk away from the corporate world. And I didn't know where I was going. First of all, I didn't know what was going on, okay, because nothing made sense to me. I didn't know where I was going, what I was doing, or why I was doing it. But I was just following an inner calling. So what happened was I started meeting and traveling with people and studying. So I've spent time, weeks on end, working in the healing rooms, helping the psychic surgeons from the Philippines with the operations there. I've spent time with Native American people traveling and doing sacred ceremony with them and observing and studying with them. Canadian medicine people, an Eskimo shaman, Peruvian shaman, as mentioned, psychic surgeon, the Maoris in New Zealand. So at this point, I've been to every state in the United States. By the way, I'm going to make a joke now, including the state of confusion. And
most of us have been there. Most of us have been to that state.
Yeah, I know. I have a tendency to live there quite often. And then also over 50 countries. So, and when I traveled, it wasn't like I went for a week. I mean, I spent 6 weeks or a year in New Zealand. I lived in Malaysia. I've lived in many different places. I lived over in Europe. I've spent extensive time in the Netherlands, in Greece. And all these times I've gone to the sacred sites, I've worked with the local people, I've worked with the local healers and shamans. So what's happened is I've taken all that information and all my experiences and said, okay, what works, what doesn't work for me? I'm not saying what everyone else, God bless them, they can have their own way. But for me, I wanted to create something that was very fast, very deep, very profound.
We're going to stop there, Michael. Can you hold that? Can you hold that thought while we take a break? I'm Marilyn Redmond, listening to Love Never Fails on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And Michael was going to finish with he's been learning and all over the world. So stay tuned to hear more about Michael Bradford. And welcome. Stay tuned, and we'll be welcoming you back in a minute. I am Marilyn Redmond. You are listening to Love Never Fails. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And today we have a special treat with Michael Bradford. And he's telling about his marvelous trips all around the world and working with his people. Michael, when did you realize you needed to find out more about who you are?
Oh, God, I was always curious about that. Being Virgo, Leo, I'm always looking at how to do things better, how to improve things, looking to understand. And for me, it's all about finding out what works and what's effective and efficient. So we were talking before about working with people, and because I'm so sensitive, because, like I said, I've had menstrual cramps because I was working on a client and she was having menstrual cramps and I just picked it up. And with the other part of being an empath and being highly sensitive, I can get overloaded very easily when people talk about their pain, talk about their suffering. I don't mean this disrespectful, but when people talk about the trauma drama, I get overwhelmed. So for me, when someone just says, I've got an issue in this area, and they give me one sentence or two sentences, that's more than enough for me. And then I track the energy, and what I'm looking for is what is the single most important issue? What is the thought, attitude, belief system, shock, trauma, whatever is unresolved, that when that shifts, everything else falls away and shifts and heals. So that's my approach, is rather than working through the layer of the onion, rather than looking at what is the most obvious thing that's going on, because of my intuition being so on target, so keen, I can just tune into the deepest root cause. It's like when you're weeding the garden, you can weed it all day if you want to. But until you get the taproot, those weeds are going to keep coming back. And that whatever's gone on for me in my development, in my learning, I have the gift of being able to see what that is and then help people from that end. And I've seen diabetes, allergies. I've seen so many things just disappear and melt away when a person is committed, willing to take responsibility, and learn, change, and grow. And that's where I'm coming from. Back to you.
Well, yeah, I relate with a lot of what you say, because we have a lot of similarities in growing up and exploring, what works and what doesn't. But I love what you wrote in your book about hitting bottom. Do you want to tell our listeners what your explanation is for hitting bottom?
Oh, boy. When you're at the lowest point that you can ever imagine, when you see no hope, when you've lost everything, well, that could be in a marriage, it could be in a business. It's a radical time where you have a chance to explore the darkness. You have a chance to go to what is called the dark night of the soul. And if anybody wants to, I'll give my email out at the end. I have some articles I've written on where you are in your own priority list, the dark night of the soul, your ego versus personality versus soul, what the qualities are. But when we hit rock bottom, that's when it's really about loving ourselves, being kind, being generous, being compassionate, not to other people, but to ourselves. And in my experience, it's relatively easy to love, honor, respect, and support other people. However, we are not taught in our culture and in many cultures that it's okay to care about ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to be kind and gentle to ourselves. We're taught to sacrifice ourselves. That's what the whole school system is about, is sacrificing ourselves, doing what other people want us to do, and then they're going to give us a bone or reward, which is an A, B, or C, or a failure.
So as a school teacher, I know.
We were indoctrinated. Now, there are some school teachers and school systems that really care about who a student is and helps to develop them. But a lot of the systems today are not challenging the students. And this goes even in the healing profession. You will go to the classes, you will learn this technique, this is where you place your hands, this is what you think, this is what you do. But the people that I have loved are the people that break all the rules, the people that can just look at the body, they can see the chakras, they can see the chakras spinning, they can look inside, see the past lives. Those are the people I've searched the world for, and thank God, I've met a whole bunch of them. And those have been my teachers. Those are the people they say that you build on I'm not sure what the statement is, but you build on the shoulders of the great people in front of you or that you've learned from. And there's so many people that I've seen and I've watched that have such great intentions, such great heart, and great compassion, and they were willing to risk being different. And I know that it wasn't easy for them. For any of us that have a unique talent and gift, for any of us outside of the norm, we face tremendous challenges of being understood, finding a way to explain what we know, and then being able to give that gift to the world.
Well, it's
back
wonderful.
To you, Marilyn, did you?
Yeah, it's wonderful what you're saying, because hopefully down the pike I'm going to have a show about education and how we can change that. But you know, when you hit bottom, that's really a time when you can make a change in your life by your behavior too, because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So is sudden enlightenment an experience, or is it a gradual process?
Well, for me, I've been told a number of things by different medicine people, psychics, shamans, etc. They said, Michael, you're a hard head. And I said, yeah, I know that one. And they said, Michael, you've made a choice. You've gone the slow road where I have to feel every bump in the road rather than going through the dimensional doorways and taking the easy path. And they said, Michael, your soul has done that because you want to know. You want to know how to take other people through it.
Exactly. That's why I'm here to take them through it, too, the same way you are, by learning. We are on Love Never Fails today. I'm your host, Marilyn Redmond. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, and we're going to talk more with Michael about his book coming up. He wrote a marvelous book called Mastering the Human Experience, so stay tuned to find out more about Michael's book, and we'll see you back. Our phone number is 866-451-1451. I am Marilyn Redmond. You're listening to Love Never Fails, and we're on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio talking with Michael Bradford. He is just full of information. He's an amazing guy, and I know that you want to hear more today. So, Michael, could you explain to our listeners what the process is? So often people say, well, you have to trust the process. What are we trusting? What is the process?
Well, the process, first of all, is having and I'm going to say a burning desire, a passion to learn, change, and grow. We can choose to go slow. I call some people oil tankers because they move very slowly. They may be committed, but their path is slow. And then I've met other people that are speedboats. Man, they can change, they can integrate information, they can move very quickly. And everyone has their own process. And some people are like speedboats in one area and oil tankers in another, and that's okay too. So part of it is knowing what we want and then going for it, and trusting the process, knowing and trusting that you're going to get wherever you need to be, and the right people, information, and tools are going to show up. So, if you're listening today, I might be part of your process or not. And the best way to know that for any decision is to go inside and say, how does this feel to me? Am I excited? Am I scared? What comes up for me when I'm considering doing certain things? Now, here's the challenge with this. The challenge is, if you're aligned with your soul, then you're going to make the right decision. If your ego and personality is in charge, your ego and personality is not going to want you to make any kind of breakthroughs. Your ego and personality is going to want you to stay stuck where you are now. And there's one other challenge. If you have negative energies in your energy field, or if you've been dealing with addictions, then you might have other energies that are scrambling your brain and scrambling your energy field. There again, that can bring up fear that says, oh, no, this person isn't right for you. However, the person may be perfect for you, but these energies know that if you go to that person, whether it's me or someone else, that person can clear them out and help you to get on track. So that's where I'm coming from as far as dealing with the process. And you have to also find out what process is right for you. Some people love body work. Some people love Reiki. Some people love other forms of healing. I've developed my own form. And everyone has a different preference for what they want, what they like. You can do something which I've seen demonstrated where you go to the person that you're least comfortable with or the process you're least comfortable with and explore it. And that will bring up a lot of stuff for you. So, again, I'm not saying there's one right path. What I'm saying is explore and find out what's right for you. I'm totally in support of you being true to yourself and being true to your own soul and your own spirit. Back to you, Marilyn.
Oh, thank you. Well, you mentioned the term ego, and how would you describe the main function of our ego? Because it causes a lot of trouble.
Well, our ego and personality is neither bad or good. If we didn't have an ego, we wouldn't be alive. But there's the wounded ego that says me, or I'm the most important thing, or it's all about me, and I have to control everything, and I need all the attention. Or you've got the healed ego, which says I'm going to serve humanity, and it's okay for me to make money. It's okay for me to have love in my life. However, I want a higher purpose. So for me, the ego and personality is not something that needs to be destroyed or killed, but it does have to be, I don't want to say brought under control, harnessed. It has to be brought into alignment with your soul's purpose and your direction in life.
Well, I agree with that. In my first book, Roses Have Thorns, I have a fable I wrote, and at the bottom, the moral is make friends with your ego. So that's what you're saying, is to make it work with you. And when you said align it, I thought that was perfect. So when we align ourselves with our ego, we're actually doing what's best for us and not letting it get in the way of what's best for us.
Well, especially if we've been hurt as a child or abused, we want to be safe. We want to not risk. We want to look good. Maybe we were humiliated. Maybe we feel bad. Whatever it may be, the trauma. And this, by the way, I go into all of this in my book, Mastering the Human Experience, Your Soul's Journey on Earth. It's on Amazon. My full name is Michael Edward Bradford because there's so many Michael Bradfords. I said I got to put my middle name in there so people can find me. But in that book, I wrote it specifically, Marilyn, because people did not have a firm foundation on, okay, why do you come to Earth? What decisions do you make before you come to Earth? What happens at the point of conception? What happens in the womb? What happens at birth? What happens 0 to age 7? And then I go into where people are from, souls. Are you extraterrestrial or interdimensional, inner earth being, elemental? I go into all that. What kind of lifetimes can you choose? And my book goes into all of that. And by the way, I'll just put a little teaser in here. I'm also writing another book now on intuition. And I've already written more than enough for the book, and I'm still writing. And so that book will be out around between September and December. Back to you.
Very, very good. Okay, well, this is Marilyn. I'm Marilyn Redmond. We're listening to Love Never Fails on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And we're going to talk more about that wonderful book he was just talking about and get some more answers from Michael Bradford. So stay tuned and find out about his wonderful book, Mastering the Human Experience, Your Soul's Journey on Earth, and hear more about it. Our phone number is 866-451-1451. If you have any questions for Michael or any questions for me, we're waiting for your phone calls. Call in now. I'm your host, Marilyn Redmond. You're listening to Love Never Fails. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Remember to call in at 866-451-1451 if you're out there. And if you have a question, I'm sure other people have that same question. I had a radio show before, and I discovered that somebody said, oh, they called in with the same thing I was thinking about. So don't be shy. Michael will be glad to listen to your question and give you whatever he has to say about it. And Michael's talking about his wonderful book, Mastering the Human Experience, Your Soul's Journey on Earth. And Michael, how do you suggest people read that book?
Well, you definitely don't sit down and have a read and read it all the way through. I don't think that's possible. Even the editor said, Michael, there's so much meat in here. She said, I have to go slow and take one chapter and then sit with it, and then take another chapter and sit with it. I wrote the book because, like I said, I wanted to give people a firm foundation to understand themselves, but also to help them to heal. So as you're reading the book, you're actually triggering the healing process within yourself. And so when you're reading the book, I would just take one chapter at the most and sit down and spend some time with it. If you need a couple of days to think about it more and to integrate even more, that's fine. But it's got so much information in it that you can't read it like a novel all the way through. In the book, by the way, I share not only the information, but I also give stories of how it's played out in my life, so that you have an understanding of how it applies to life. Go ahead, Marilyn.
I found that when I was reading your book, and I really enjoyed it because it validated a lot of things I've learned over the years, and I do channeling, and that information that I've been channeling in all these past years, you brought out in the book. So it was terrific. I couldn't even read a whole chapter without putting it down and starting to process it and understand it at a deeper level, like you're suggesting, chapter by chapter. They might want to do it sooner, and if you see a paragraph that really gets your attention, to put it down for a bit and really digest it.
I agree with you. I compare it. You don't want to go to a buffet table and try to eat everything all at once. You want to go with the plate, see what you like the best, and then come back, eat that, and then take your time, and then go back for more. And whenever I write something, my purpose is not only on the conscious level to give people information, but also that embedded in it, in the writing, is energy and other information that goes way beyond the written word. So
wonderful. We do have a caller, Michael, so we're going to take a time to ask who our caller is and find out what their question is.
Okay, sounds good.
Caller, would you identify yourself?
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
My name is Mac. I'm from Seattle, and I had a question for Michael.
Wonderful.
Go on.
In a previous segment of the program, you were talking about different forms of healing, and there's a long time I read some books about Edgar Cayce, and I wanted to become a healer, and eventually began to develop, and I was able to touch people and bring about healing, but then apparently Spirit wanted more to happen for me. Because one day I came home and I found a book on a bookshelf that I hadn't put there. It was a brand new book. It had to do with pranic healing. So I studied that. Now, one difference I see between the two was touch healing. I had to physically be with the person I was trying to heal. But with pranic healing, I find that I can do that remotely. We don't have to be together. And I guess my question here is, the energy that's involved in these two different forms of healing, is it basically the same energy?
Okay, everything is connected and everything is energy. Now, do you want to know the real reason why you're calling?
I thought that was the reason.
No, it's not the reason, because your guides and teachers are talking to me. You are a powerful healer. You were many lifetimes. You have been in Egypt and other times. And there's some things in your energy field that are scrambling you. And you've basically one major issue in your energy field that I could see. When you called up, I intuitively tracked your energy, which I always do. And I saw that there was something in your energy field that's been stopping you and scrambling you. That's the real reason why your soul wanted you to make the call. And you're very brave, and I want to honor you for making the call and calling in. And as we're talking, I'm working with you to release that energy, thanking that energy for its service to you, but you've outgrown this energy, and it was placed inside of you or placed in your energy field to stop you and hold you back. You can do healing. It's all energy. I don't need to see anybody. I don't need to know anything. Just like now with you, I just tuned into your energy field, and I can see exactly what you need, and I can watch as your energy field shifts, which it just has. I don't know if you can feel anything, but as we've been talking, just in a short period of time, your energy has cleared and shifted quite dramatically. Can you feel it at all, or what's going on your side?
I can't say that I've felt any shift as of yet, but I might feel it the next time I try to do some healing.
Yeah, and just remember, all of these books are great. I can give you 5,000 books, okay? But you are already a master in this. And you can take all those books, you get to the point where you take all the books and you say, thank you very much, and you go beyond all of those books. Those books were written by people who found their path. That doesn't mean it's your path. And I've also written an international book. It's called Hands-on Spiritual. No, in the United States, it's called The Healing Energy of Your Hands. That's in 12 languages. But I don't use my hands for healing anymore. So although it's a great book and it's sold thousands and thousands of copies, I don't use that technique anymore because I've outgrown it. So what I'm saying to you is, all these books are great. Now, go inside, tap into your inner knowing, tap into your higher self, and ask what is right for you. And you're right. You don't need to. I don't use my hands for healing anymore. I don't even need to see anyone. They can call me up on Skype, on the telephone, and I can tune into their energy.
I know some of the best healing work I've done has been exactly what you just described. I don't know how people got my phone number, but I've had calls. I've never seen these people, and I've worked with them, and had amazing results. And it seems more natural to do it that way.
You do it the way your heart guides you to do it. And by the way, I want to say something, and I believe that from now on, you're going to get a lot more accolades. A lot more people are going to say you did a great job and they had a great healing without you trying any harder.
Okay, I'm Marilyn Redmond, and you are on Love Never Fails, which is the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Would our caller just stay on the line? We'll finish talking to you after the break. And he called in on 866-451-1451. Stay tuned for some more information for our caller. I'm your host, Marilyn Redmond. You're listening to Love Never Fails. We're on the BBM Global Network TuneIn Radio. We were talking with Mac, and we're going to finish up talking with Mac, and we've got another caller today. So stay listening and find out what all these questions are about, because you can learn from them too. So Mac, do you want to finish up with your question so we can move on?
Michael was saying something he didn't get a chance to finish.
Well, what I'm saying to you, Mac, is this. In my opinion, based upon what I'm seeing, number one, your energy has just totally cleared. It's much stronger. That other energy has released from your energy field. And I believe that you're going to get much more positive feedback from people you do healing on that from now on, number one. Number two, I would say you need a dose of courage and confidence, and to know that you are working with spirit, you are a servant of spirit, and that you are always doing your best to help people. And I believe from this point on, your life can change and will change, providing you love, honor, respect, and support yourself. And by the way, send me an email with your email. Well, I'll get your email address, and I'll send you some affirmations and some other information that'll help you. And I'll send it to anyone that's a radio listener. I will send them some free gifts. So I just want to thank you. See, here's the way Spirit works. Spirit, you came on with the question, but the question you were asking had a higher purpose. It was to connect the two of us. When you asked me the questions, I started looking and saying, okay, what is the most important thing, the most important gift that I could give you right now that'll help you transform your life? And you asked a question that allowed the connection. But the real reason for you calling was to clear this other energy, and it's gone now. So God bless you, and thank you for having the courage to call in and do it on the air.
And
I'll find out shortly, because I'm working with a person in Canada. And I just got a message from him about half an hour ago that he wants me to continue working with him. We met here in the States over the weekend, so I will be working with him remotely, so I will see firsthand what the changes are. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for calling, and we're going to move on to our next caller. Would you like to identify yourself?
Yeah, this is Linda Schiller, Hannah, and I just want to say that although I missed the first part of the show, I've had wonderful healings from all three of you, Marilyn, Michael, and Mac. I'm one of those lucky people in this world, and each of you has blessed me with beautiful insights and wisdom. Michael, in his first session with me, talked about a situation with a doll that I had completely forgotten about. It happened when I was about 9 years old, and it was totally life-transforming. And Marilyn, you've helped me with inner child and self-esteem, and Max helped me with courage and other things when we've talked. And, I mean, you're all just amazing souls. And all four of us are connected through the Edgar Casey play, so it's a real soul group, and anyone listening probably has... Nobody's here by accident. And I just want to thank all of you for who you are. And I'm just going to get off the air and keep listening, because I don't have much to add other than I love y'all. Don't leave
Linda,
that.
Linda, you can't get out. You can't get out.
Okay. All right. You're all amazing. Okay. Yes, Michael.
Linda.
My brother.
I just want to say you're one of the most amazing, caring, giving human beings that I know. And by the way, I am just tuning in, and dog heaven is sending lots of barks and tail waggings and licks saying thank you for taking care of our four-legged friends.
Yeah, I just had to put my pocket down. I've been crying. I was in the bathtub crying while you guys were working. So thank you.
Well,
I appreciate that.
I've never seen Dog Heaven send a message before, but they sure sent one to you today. So
thank you. That makes me feel better. Thank you so much.
Oh, the dogs are so appreciative. The four-legged ones are so appreciative of all that you've done to help them. And I'm not. There are also the two-legged, but the four-legged. Right now they're sending you special. I could see the tails wagging, and anyway, they're so excited. They're even peeing on the floor. That's how excited they are.
You can never train chihuahuas. I tell you, they always peed on the floor.
But anyway, they're just saying thank you for being who you are, and for taking care of the four-leggeds, the little dogs. So that's the message for you before you leave. Okay.
I'll take it with gratitude and love to you all. Great show.
Okay.
What I caught. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for calling. We want to know, Michael, how people can reach you before we lose any more time. Is there a better way to get you hold of you so that you can be helpful to them?
Yeah. If you're looking on YouTube, I have a YouTube channel with a bunch of videos there, and that's for free. It's Michael Edward Bradford on YouTube. If you're looking to get my book on Amazon, Mastering the Human Experience, Your Soul's Journey on Earth, that's under Michael Edward Bradford. My email is michael@michaelbradford.com. And I'll even give out my phone number, which is on the East Coast. I actually live a block away from the Edgar Cayce Center, which is 760-844-2778. So please feel free to contact me, and if I can help you, I will let you know. If you want some information, I can send that to you. But thank you very, very much for listening. Back to you, Marilyn.
Thank you. Well, we have a break coming up. I'm your host, Marilyn Redmond. You're listening to Love Never Fails, and we're on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I am Marilyn Redmond, your host for Love Never Fails. We're coming to you live from the BBM Global Network TuneIn Radio with Michael Bradford today, and we want to thank all our callers today and hope that we have some more next week, because we're going to be talking about communication, tips for communicating, so you can be a better communicator with your loved ones and your friends and your family. But we wanted to keep talking with Michael. We have a little bit of time yet, and I want to ask Michael, is spirit and soul one of the same?
Oh, boy. I think that the way I look at it, and see, words are interpretation. So for me, spirit is like Great Spirit, the Holy Spirit. It is an all-inclusive, gigantic word, where the soul is, each of us has an individual soul. We are connected to the Great Spirit. However, I believe we have individual souls. So that's the way I would answer that question. We are all a part of spirit. We're all a part of the big picture. And we're all interconnected. This is why, when the callers call in, and they're talking to me, I start seeing pictures, my intuition opens up, and I start seeing things because we are all connected. Back to you, Marilyn.
Well, when I was channeling John the Divine, or also called St. John from the Bible, he explained it this way, and it really helped a lot of people last weekend when I shared this. He said, take a bowl and you're going to mix up cookie dough, and you put all the ingredients in the cookie dough, and it's all together in one, your dough is all mixed up, and now you're going to make the cookies. So you take out the cookie sheet, you put your spoon in the cookie dough, and scoop out a scoop of cookie dough, put it on your cookie sheet. And you scoop up another part of the cookie dough and put that scoop on your cookie sheet, and each of those are your individual souls. It's the same consciousness as God, or whatever term you use for that, higher power. And so that we have the same energy and the same consciousness as God, we're just individualized.
I agree with you, and we're each on our own journey, and our journey is different than everybody else's journey. Everyone is totally unique, just like the snowflakes are totally unique. So part of the challenge is people, they say, well, how come I'm not like this person, or how come I'm not like that person? And it's like, no, each of us has our individual path, our individual strengths, our individual weaknesses, and we come to Earth and choose our parents, we choose our lessons, we choose a lot of things. And people, but what happens is when we come into Earth, the veil shuts so that we don't remember all the things that we choose. There's no sense in giving you the answer sheet if they're going to give you a test. So, and the person, we are testing ourselves. There's no one out there testing us. We are testing ourselves. And
exactly.
It's a very interesting process.
Right.
So
well, we have
you.
just a couple minutes. What's the difference between religion and spirituality?
Oh, boy. Don't get me started.
Do you have a simple little answer?
Yeah, religion, I think, was created with good intentions. However, a lot of it man has gotten involved with, and it's been used to control people, and it hasn't told the whole truth. Even in Christianity, Judaism, there's what they teach the masses, and there's what they teach in the mystery schools. And they're both very, very different teachings. And the spirituality is more holistic and more pure.
I agree. I always say that the dogma is man-made rules, and spirituality is God's laws of love. Okay, we're going to close up here today. I'm Marilyn Redmond, and you've been listening today to Love Never Fails with Michael Bradford, and we are on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Next week, we're going to have tips for communication. And if you want to check out my website at angelicasgifts.com, I have 10 books and ebooks. I have a blog at marilynredmondbooks.blogspot.com, and I'm on YouTube also, so check out my YouTube lectures, interviews, and spiritual information. Be in joy, gratitude, and the presence of love, feeling good in reality. Thank you, Michael, for being here today. We're signing off, and have a good day, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday.
You've been listening to Love Never Fails with your host, Marilyn Redmond. Go beyond old ideas and understandings and hear Marilyn's solutions to healing and a higher consciousness. Each week, here on Marilyn Redmond's Love Never Fails.